Hi, welcome to this week's Thrive in 5. And in this next 5 minutes, I want to give you an understanding of something called marketing momentum. And marketing momentum to me is something that I see so often that in many companies that isn't working. It's this sense that they're less effective when they stop and start marketing as opposed to when they just keep it going. So what's that mean? Well, I think the first thing it means is you got to understand Newton's law. And Newton's law basically says a body at rest tends to stay at rest, a body in motion tends to stay in motion. And a lot of times what happens is we get stuck in rest mode. And so we start something and then we stop it, and we start something and we stop it. And the problem is when you stop and start, and if this is a tube, I know that's not drawn well, but if this is a tube or a cylinder, the point is we've got to get it off that end where it's not rolling and get it on its end so we can start making it roll. And in this case, the whole goal is to get in motion. And it's going to take some time. The dilemma with marketing motion is this, is you've got to get yourself over the marketing hump. It's my belief that the activity I do today is really not going to have any effect for 6 months. So the activities I'm doing today are going to drive leads for me after I get over the marketing hump 6 months from now. So it's really important that I get this thing going. Well, how do I do that? How do I get myself in motion? To me, the first thing is I have to force motion. I have to force myself to start doing things that really help me to get myself in shape. So what's that mean? Well, the first thing it means to me is you've got to do something every single day that's marketing focused. You have to market. You can't assume marketing will just magically happen. You can't rely on hope that people are just magically going to show up for your business as a lead. You have to be actively doing something. And by active, I mean you actually have to engage yourself every day as a marketer. You have to make sure you're doing something that's going to help. It could mean you have to spend some dollars. You have to invest in marketing. Marketing, to get some momentum and to get there, has to force motion. You've got to do stuff. It could mean that you have to do things like sending out some mail. It could mean you have to get in front of an audience. It could mean you have to create an event. It could mean that you have to show up at a trade show. Those kind of things force you into motion. The key, though, is once you get in motion, you've got to maintain some direction. And I'm not going to talk about that in any way, shape, or form today, because that was the whole point of last week's structure of marketing. So check out last week's Thrive in 5 video. You got to get direction. Direction helps you maintain the motion. Finally, you have to foster this momentum. And by fostering this momentum, recognize that it's going to take a while to get over the hump. Don't assume that just because you started something, it's going to be easy a week from now. I tell clients, if they start writing, don't assume your blog is going to be even close to effective until you've written at least 50 blog posts. It might take 100 to get there. So don't assume that just because you're in motion today that that's going to solve it. You've got to foster momentum, which means you've got to see it for the long haul. Marketing is just a day in, day out, never-ending, persevering kind of activity. And you've got to get yourself over this hump. And so it takes a lot of work to get there. You might have to send out 10 direct mail campaigns to even know you've got something valuable and get enough metrics to prove that a certain kind of campaign produces a result for you. And so you know your numbers a bit more. So you've got to foster the momentum. Now, here's the cool thing. When you've got motion in place and you've got a good direction, you know your strategy, and you've got some momentum going, the cool part is when you get over this hump, you get one of the coolest parts of it, which is inertia. And inertia is that sense that it actually starts happening without you even having to force it now. It becomes a part of what you're doing, and it just keeps going and going. And it's almost like it becomes a unique attraction vehicle to itself. So your marketing actually takes on its own unique spin. That's where I want for you. That's where I want you to go. Get enough going so that you actually get to the point where inertia kicks in, so momentum becomes inertia, and all of that cool stuff that happens when you've created that for yourself takes over. That's this week's Thrive in 5. You now have the knowledge. Now go do something good about it. We'll see you next week.